how is it that Finnair, Finland's flag carrier, is not in serious financial trouble or even bankruptcy right now? When the war in Ukraine escalated in 2022, a lot of analysts predicted that the conflict would cripple the world's airlines and especially Finnair. But that didn't happen, so how? Well, as it turns out, the survival and success of this airline actually tells us some very useful things about the state of aviation right now. And it also gives us a hint about what to expect from the future. Stay tuned. Calm music. Commercial aviation is a cyclical industry with constant ups and downs in both the demand and supply of travel. In that kind of environment, having a good strategy is obviously really important. But even if you have that, bad timing can still ruin everything. Finnair is definitely an airline who had a strategy, but they also very nearly suffered from some really bad timing, starting around a decade or so ago, when the airline made a key strategic shift towards long-haul travel. I'm not going to give you a full breakdown of Finnair's history here, but basically, the airline is not too different from many other flag carriers around the world. They have the usual mix of narrow bodies and wide bodies, and they're not new in the game. In 2024, they celebrated their 100th year anniversary, and with that, they claim to be the 5th oldest airline in the world. Finnair have operated a lot of aircraft types over the decades, but in recent years, they have gradually settled onto Airbuses for most of their needs, apart from some ATRs and Embraer jets, both of which are operated for them by Norra, their regional affiliate airline. In 2007, Finnair then became a launch customer for the Airbus A350, and they were actually the first airline to operate the type in Europe. Initially, the plan was that the Airbus A350S would replace their older 4-engine Airbus A340S, and maybe even some Airbus A330S as well. But that plan later evolved quite a bit. You see, Finnair only ever operated 7 Airbus A340S and 8 Airbus A330S. And whilst the A340S are now all gone, all of their Airbus A330S are still around, which is key to today's story. Finnair now has 18 Airbus A350S as we record this video, with one more due very soon. So in total, they have a fleet of 80 aircraft, of which 26 are wide bodies. That's an expansion from 15 just a few years ago, and the Airbus A350S are still less than 10 years old, while the Airbus A330s are, on average, around 15 years. By comparison, the airline's narrow-body fleet is much older for the most part. Their Airbus A321s are relatively new, but their A319s and A320s are, on average, well over 20 years old. And yet Finnair hasn't ordered anything new to replace them. Now that might change soon, although as I've explained in many of my other videos, Airbus in particular is quite slow in delivering new jets right now. Their backlog means that if you order an Airbus A320 or a A321neo today, you might actually receive it 8 to 10 years from now. And if that would happen, that would mean that a 22 or 23-year-old Airbus A320, that Finnair could be over 30 years old by the time that the airline takes delivery of any new Neos, assuming that's what they're going to do. Of course, there's a chance that they could look for newer lease jets instead, but these aren't that easy to come by either. So what has actually happened? How come there is such a lack of urgency to replace those smaller jets at a time when new big jets are already getting delivered? Well, that's where that change in strategy that I mentioned before comes into play. To understand what we're talking about, it's worth remembering where Finland is located on the map. You see, the country is located pretty much at the northeastern corner of Europe, a position that gives them favorable access to a lot of international destinations, particularly in East Asia, reaching places like Tokyo and other cities in Japan or South Korea, Taiwan, or mainland China could allow Finnair to turn its Helsinki base into a major hub basically for anyone traveling between Europe and East Asia. To be clear, none of this is entirely new for Finnair. The airline has been flying to Asian destinations since the 1970s, and they first flew nonstop between Helsinki and Tokyo back in 1983. But by expanding its long-haul capacity, Finnair obviously sought to turn its home base into a viable hub between Europe and Asia, as opposed to just a link between Asia and Finland itself. Finnair started taking deliveries of its new Airbus A350s in 2015, and by 2017, they had enough of them to retire the last of their Airbus A340s for good, and the deliveries then continued quickly in the next couple of years. Then the pandemic hit. Obviously, this hurt everyone in the industry, and like everyone else, Finnair did things like convert passenger jets over to carry cargo, and generally just brace for the very worst. But then, a couple of years later, some international travel to Asia slowly began to recover, which allowed Finnair to finally resume its operations there. And then came Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And with that came the international sanctions that stopped Russian airlines from flying over Europe and other sanctioning nations, which caused reciprocal Russian sanctions blocking all European carriers from Russia's airspace. Looking back at Finland's position on the map, it's clear that part of Finnair's strategy was to spend quite a lot of time overflying Russia in order to make those links to East Asia as competitive as possible. So avoiding Russian airspace meant that flights now basically had to fly initially straight to north over the North Pole and then onwards toward Alaska, reaching the Pacific Ocean before turning towards Japan. In other words, the war and the sanctions turned Finland's location from a great asset into a massive obstacle, almost facing a literal wall that they just couldn't fly through. So by all accounts and logic, they were screwed. So how devastating did this turn out to be for Finnair then? Well, in 2023, Finnair posted a profit, reportedly its highest full-year profit for over a decade. What? And that was due to some quite risky new strategies, which I will soon get back to. But what this proved once again was that taking risks in business can sometimes pay off big. But that's not the case when it comes to your online security. And that's where today's sponsor, NordVPN, comes in when we are researching aviation incidents or these kind of stories. We sometimes end up in some pretty sketchy corners of the internet.